think that the day that my mom and my stepdad Kevin broke up was the day that a really big and important part of my mom died. It affected me pretty negatively, and it was like my whole family's ruined.
Welcome back to Rabbit from the Closet. Recently, Kevin Federline has been busy rewriting history in his new tell-all book. But let's take a moment to revisit the era he somehow forgot to include in that book, the Shar Jackson era, also known as Kevin's full-time audition for the worst father ever. It's important because most fans don't realize that Shar Jackson and her children are speaking out.
The first time I actually decided that I wanted to go out with Kevin was when I saw him in dance class. He had already accepted the two children I already had as his own, so we wanted to add to that. Finally, we got pregnant with Corey, and it was like the happiest day of his life.
Sharing the sad reality that when Kevin bounced off with Britney,
when I found out that Kevin was with Britney, I was at home, 6.5 months pregnant. Got the phone call with him being very strange on the phone. And then he told me that he hung out with somebody that week.
Their family was destroyed, and they even lost their home. Shar's eldest daughter, Kevin Federline's stepdaughter, who he raised for 3 years, has gone on camera crying about the trauma she endured from being bullied at school, about her stepdad's relationship with Britney Spears, which was plastered all over the tabloids. She couldn't get away from it.
Yeah, that's when the anger.
When you kids get...
It was everywhere. I mean, I couldn't turn on a TV, couldn't pick up a magazine, sometimes didn't want to go outside. That was the worst thing right there, reading all the made-up stories. But my daughter, my oldest daughter, Cassie, would come home from school just in tears. Oh God, I'm really gonna cry.
Yeah, no, I get it.
In true K-Fed fashion, Kevin took one look at fatherhood with Shar Jackson, and he said, "Be right back," and then somehow reappeared on the arm of the biggest pop star on the planet. The math wasn't mathing then, and honestly, it still isn't. It's time to expose the reality of how K-Fed abandoned 3 children and a pregnant woman.
They met on a Monday at a club. That Friday, I think, is when they went to the beach with all the infamous beach pictures. And I found out, right after that. I had no idea that anything was even wrong. I thought he was out auditioning.
To be with Britney Spears, Shar and her children struggled in such extreme ways that they lost their home, and years later, her eldest daughter continues to speak out about how much the turmoil Kevin and Britney caused to her life still affects her to this day. Kind of storyline that makes you pause and go, Kevin, you left behind an entire maternity ward for a woman you claim was doing cocaine while she breastfed your children. That's a bold choice.
One of the hardest things through the whole breakup was being 7 months, 8 months pregnant and seeing pictures of the person that I loved making out on hotel balconies. And it was bad. It was everywhere. Couldn't watch TV, couldn't turn on the radio, couldn't read a magazine, For them, it's all entertainment, but it's my life.
Messy doesn't even begin to cover this episode, but don't worry. Even if Kevin won't talk about all of this in his book, we will in Rabbit's Closet.
I was forced to live out one of the most painful experiences of my life.
Kevin Federline split from Shar Jackson, and rapid transition into a relationship with Britney Spears became one of the most infamous early 2000s plot twists.
It's an unbelievable story. What did you say to him?
Honestly, when he came home and we started talking, and he said it was just a thing. It was just a little fling, and
Little
it happened.
fling.
And
I hung out with her.
I hung out with her.
Yeah.
And and then and he wanted to work on our family. So I was like, all right, great.
Okay, so you were ready to forgive and forget.
Yeah, if you're ready to work on it, let's work on it.
And he said, he was.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
No.
At the time, Shar was pregnant with their second child, and the pair were still publicly seen as a couple.
I mean, that's an obvious, our relationship is over. And now I have to focus on what is still a part of my life, and that's my kids. And making it through this pregnancy.
When Kevin's connection with Britney began, practically overnight, the media went from covering Shar and Kevin's growing family to splashing photos of Kevin and the world's biggest pop star all across the tabloid covers.
For 4 years, we lived together, That's what made me decide that that's who I wanted to be with. When I introduced him to my kids, he fell in love with them, they fell in love with him. I was like, okay, we can do this.
This worked.
The speed and timing of it all left Shar Jackson shocked and devastated, while the public watched the drama unfold in real time. Kevin's leap from a private family life into the center of pop culture chaos became one of the defining controversies of the decade, and a storyline that still sparks debate today.
And so, if your daughter were to ask you at some point, Mom, this thing, forget Dad, but this thing that Britney did, where she knew, right, that we were family.
Yeah.
You'd say to her, people make mistakes, or what would you?
And that's pretty much what I would say.
And that's what you feel in your heart?
Life is full of nothing but experiences.
In the following years, Shar Jackson has openly described how blindsided she was by the entire situation, and she's spoken publicly about the deep sense of loss she felt when her family suddenly fractured in front of the entire world.
My daughter, I think she was 9 when all this started.
Yep.
And my son was 10. So they kind of had an idea. They see the magazines, they see, the TV shows. They get to hear about it from their friends at school who read the magazines.
And they were on the cover of tabloid magazines with Britney, the kids, eventually.
1 minute, she was building a life with Kevin Federline, pregnant and raising their children. And the next minute, she was watching the reality tabloid covers rewrite her life overnight. In interviews, she's talked about the heartbreak, the confusion, and the way it felt like her family was taken away from her in real time.
And you never know why something happens, but I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Do you want your daughter to interact with their child?
They can. They're siblings. That's great.
An emotional shock that no one deserves, let alone under the bright, unforgiving glare of the early 2000s celebrity culture. When Kevin Federline left Shar Jackson during her pregnancy and stepped into the global spotlight with Britney, the fallout didn't just land on tabloid covers, it hit the entire Jackson household.
The baby, Corey, was on the cover of a magazine, and we're not going to talk about that. That's not a happy subject, so we're not.
Because it made you so angry?
Yeah, that's when that's when the anger actually kicked.
While Shar has publicly spoken about how painful and chaotic that time was, anyone with common sense can see how moments like that rippled through. Her older kids were suddenly thrust into a situation where the adults around them were orbiting a media firestorm, dealing with heartbreak, and trying to keep life steady while the world dissected their private lives. Watching your family get split apart, especially in such a public, messy 2000s reality kind of way, can leave emotional bruises that take years to fully sort out. You don't need a tell-all book to understand that kind of disruption affects the kids the most.
How does a person justify, listen, I know you're pregnant, I don't even know how it would go, but you have to understand, I met this girl.
Okay, let me help you out, because
help me out.
This wasn't a normal situation. This was the biggest superstar in the world at the time.
Exactly.
Just took someone who really never had much to begin with,
Kevin.
and gave that person the world.
He had the world, by the way. He had
the world.
You,
it depends on what you consider,
yes,
important in life.
And what about Britney? Was she some kind of angel swept off her feet by the demon that is Kevin Federline?
That's my
But
world.
you're saying he had needs.
Yeah.
What were they? Fame?
I mean, he's in the entertainment business even before people knew him. So yeah, he kind of wanted a little bit of fame. So I mean, seriously, if you take someone who lives humbly.
Yes, as you and he did.
Because I'm a normal girl. Yeah, I've been in the industry since I was 3 years old, but I like to do things normal. You know,
Okay.
I like to go home and have normality so that my kids can grow up and be safe. With her status, it's out of control.
So does that make you forgive him more readily and say, well, look, it was a powerful drug, so you might as well use it?
It doesn't make me forgive him, but you have to understand, like I said, I grew up in Hollywood, okay? And I've seen kids, and adults too, get exposed to this lifestyle and completely forget who they are and what's important.
Right.
And it happens all the time.
In Britney's recent book, Britney stated she didn't know about Shar or the pregnancy when she got with Kevin Federline. But Shar Jackson has said in recent interviews that Britney was aware of her and the baby when she and Kevin first got together. From Shar's point of view, the situation wasn't a misunderstanding or a secret. It was a painful, complicated triangle that unfolded in real time. Under the glare of the media and Britney's millions of fans, she's described feeling doubly hurt, not just by Kevin leaving, but by the idea that another woman stepped in despite knowing a family was already in the picture.
I've seen it happen to so many people.
Because you are still friends.
We are friends.
Best friends.
I love him to death.
Have you ever been, like, do you still love him?
I love him, I'm not in love with him.
Whether people agree with Shar or not, she's been very clear about her experience and how devastating this chapter was for her as a partner and a mother. Okay, so last night I spent hours going through footage of Shar Jackson. She's recently been on several podcasts as well as a therapy show called Mother and Daughter. And in all of this footage of Shar, I really and truly get a sense of a very hardworking, down-to-earth, kind-hearted woman. I've had some people come into my comments and say that Shar was part of orchestrating Kevin getting with Britney so that she could make money from it. And I just want to make it highly clear. Shar has said, and through research, I've concluded that it's absolutely true. She had no access to the alimony and child support that Kevin received from Britney. Actually, all of her child support was based on whether or not Kevin had a job, like the money he made directly. And we all know Kevin rarely ever had a job, and definitely never a real one. So Shar was not receiving much money at all from Kevin. She actually lost her house shortly after Kevin left them. And honestly, she's continued to struggle somewhat. That's why she keeps doing reality television, and her eldest daughter, Cassie, has even gotten into the reality TV world as well. And Shar has never gotten remarried. We don't even publicly see her acknowledging a certain special man in her life. And to me, that's very telling. She had children with Kevin Federline, and that was it. It seems like she thought this was going to be her forever relationship. I get the sense that she was truly devastated and hurt by what happened with Kevin. I also see a quick move from Shar to forgive Kevin, to let everyone know that she still loves him and sees him as being a very good person. And I'm a little bit like, girl, like, it's a little bit difficult to hear her be so forgiving of him. He has done a complete disservice to her children, first and foremost. I do think that when you're in a relationship where you're divorced or something like this happens and you split up, you want to make the best of it for your kids. And I understand that's what she's trying to do in the past and right now. And yet still, I mean, I really wish she would come forward and speak honestly about what a dickhead he is. How awful it is that he did this to her and to her children while she was pregnant. It absolutely devastates me to see Cassie crying and being so heavily emotional on this therapy reality TV show. I definitely get a sense that she's being sincere. And she says, I carried a lot of burden on my shoulders because I was the oldest and we were going through a time where my mom was absolutely depressed, devastated, unable to leave the house. Now, Shar never portrays it that way, but we're hearing from her daughter that's what she saw. And she said that she felt like she had to carry the burden, always keep a smile on her face, and not share all of what she was going through at school and in her life because her family was already struggling enough. And Kevin just jetted out of that situation after 3 years of raising this young girl, I think from the age of 6 to 9. He left her behind. Kevin has even said in his most recent tell-all book that he really struggled with trying to still see his children from Shar Jackson. That's the other 2 children, not even Cassie. He doesn't mention Cassie. He talks about how it was hard for him to go pick up Jaden and Sean all the time and try to be a stable, loving force in their lives. I mean, we know he was messing around with literal porn stars in the baby's room, but whatever. He tells us that he was doing everything he could to take care of Sean and Jaden, and yet he also had to run over to Shar's house and pick up his 2 younger children with Shar and spend some time with them. In his book, he admits that his children with Shar often felt left out. And I can only speculate that he's talking about the 2 youngest. He says that they often saw how he spent a lot of time with Sean and Jaden. They were at his house almost all the time. And they also received a lot of things from Kevin because he was getting $20,000 a month in child support for those 2 boys, including whatever alimony. We don't even know how much alimony he was getting. So they were receiving more of his attention, more of his energy, and more of his money. And it was very hard for Shar's kids. Now, Shar's children haven't said all of this. It's actually Kevin who's admitting to it, which makes me wonder if it's much worse than Kevin would even expose to all of us. The point of this episode is to alert everyone, because I wasn't aware, that Kevin's eldest daughter, Cassie Jackson, has spoken out about how awful it was when Kevin just ditched their entire family. Now Kevin is showing up hypercritical of Britney Spears and the many mistakes that she has publicly made with her children and those that she's made behind the scenes. We all know, we can see, let's be honest. And I know there are some hardcore Britney fans, free Britney people who are so devoted to it. They can't be honest about what's really happening here. And it's not just about the Instagram videos that she puts up. We've had multiple people from her life come forward and let us know that there are mental health issues and there are drug problems. We can see it with our eyes, but we've also had various sources let us know that this is just not fun on Instagram, okay? So let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves for once, free Britney fans. Britney can be multiple things. She can be an amazing person. She can have a heart of gold. She can be a great superstar. She can be a genius or talented. If you think all of those things about her, she can be those things. And she can also be someone who's dealing with drug addiction issues. She can also be someone who wants to be a really good mom, but has failed in many ways over the years to make that a reality. That doesn't mean she's a horrible person. It doesn't get rid of all of the good things about Britney, but we can be honest about it. This is a channel on which we are going to do these episodes honestly. And we are going to talk about how Britney has been a part of her own downfall. But right now on this episode, what I am exposing is that Kevin Federline coming out, writing this tell-all book, and having nothing but criticism to give to the mother of his children is quite hypocritical of him. He has said that he's doing this because he wants to get out there and let the world know that Britney is in danger. We need to save her life. He's also said that he's doing this because his sons have received a lot of backlash, as well as he has received a lot of backlash from speaking out about Britney, and he wants to set the record straight. But I think all of us would argue you could have done some of that without making it a money grab. And we all see it, Kevin. We get that this is a money grab and that this is what you have been doing time and time again in your life. before Britney ever came along. You were with Shar, who was a much bigger star than you were, and you left her and hitched your wagon to a bigger star's train as soon as possible. But my friends, that's not it when it comes to Kevin Federline. In our next episode, we're going to talk about all the salacious shit that Kevin Federline has put in his new tell-all book. We're going to expose the way in which this book often sounds like a narcissist is writing it, but also uncover some of the untruths and white lies that are easy to expose from Kevin's writing. And lastly, we're going to talk about how some of it is likely very true, and it's sad and hard to accept. So I hope you'll all join me again for episode 3, when we dive headfirst into Kevin's book and finish it in one video, exposing the grand hypocrisy Kevin has put out there for the world to digest. Join me again next time in Rabbit's Closet.